Yeah. All right, greetings, everybody. Greetings, and peace, profound, positive vibrations, and positive sound. How you all doing this evening? It's a beautiful evening, Sunday. Another Sunday evening, eh? Another evening where we should chat some politics. Another Sunday evening. Another Sunday evening when we should talk some politics. You know, politics politics is a politics is a um politics is a uh politics is a learner, Politics is a learning process, and one should learn as you go, grow as you learn. Jennifer Brooks, good evening. Good evening. Donna, Christy, how are you? Jan, how are you? Um, Kemar Anderson, Cheryl Bell, Selena, good to see you as well. Lily Lawrence, good to see you, everybody. It's been a while. I wasn't on for the last 2 weeks because, as some of y'all know, I've been doing a little bit of traveling. And that sometimes can really take a toll on your ability to do these things. So my apologies for that coming on last week. Patroy, we see you. Warren Brooks, we see you. Kevin Bell Navis, how you doing? Yeah, so we didn't get a chance to come on last week, and I think the week before we came live from Atlanta. But this week we are back in the studio. Still not firing off all cylinders, but we owe it to the people to continue the journey, to continue the discussion, to continue the awareness, the political awareness, and to continue to have these discussions and to keep people informed as best as we can. So sometimes we're not feeling it, but we have to do it. So welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's a joy. It's a joy to be here. Donovan Sylvester, how are you? Basil, my friend, how are you? It's been a minute. But it's good to have you guys on. It's what, 137 on. We're still on YouTube. We're still on our YouTube channel, Chops Media. And I appreciate you guys going over there and liking the page. The numbers have gone up. We're still not where we need to be. Like I suggested to you last time, that our objective is to get to 1,000 subscription on our YouTube channel, and we are very much getting there. Daniel McFarlane, my friend, how are you? Dwayne Banky, big up yourself. Basil Duba, good to see you. So again, I still encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chops Media, and to our Instagram page, Chops Media as well. The Facebook page, which is The Chopping Block, continues to enjoy very good interaction with you guys, and we appreciate it. Valerie Bright, good to see you. So it's been a very busy week. Busy in the sense of oh boy, it's busy in the political space, especially in the halls of 89 Old Hope Road, where a bulk of the activities have been taken place. I am coming to you raw as ever. I did not even take some time out to even look at some of the topical issues, but some of them are just clear as day. But the People's National Party has descended into just just sheer chaos over there. And I'm trying to figure out if we understand. Ryan, good to see you, Ryan. How are you? I wonder if we could get Ryan on. I wonder if we could get Ryan on to weigh in on some of what's happening out there in the space. Colleen Williams will see you. Mr. Harvey, how are you? Harvey De Aguilar, big up yourself, sir. Welcome. Val Peng, Mr. Peng, how are you, man? Long time we haven't seen Mr. Peng. Mr. Peng, how you do? Camille Wright, pick up yourself. Angela McKay, long time. Chopping Block supporters. I see a lot of you on. I appreciate you, man. Love you guys. You've been supporting this movement for quite a while, and we don't take it for granted. And that's why even when there are times when we're not in the best of shape to do the program, we still have to, because we are committed to what we do. So, but we wonder to some extent, why is it that there's no learning taking place? Part of the big problem, is that I know that the Jamaica Labour Party would have gone through similar issues back in the days, in the 1990s. Now, you would have heard the discussion on this very channel before, how important it is for us to have a viable and effective opposition. Because the truth is, even though some people will argue otherwise, when you don't have an effective opposition, it is not the best thing for our democracy. And it is not the best things for good governance. But we can also, measure that up against a lot of countries who operate very effectively and efficiently without an effective, what you call, opposition. I give you a country. There's a particular country that Jamaica and Jamaicans, especially in the political space, speaks about a lot, and that is Singapore. Jamaica speaks about Singapore just about all the time, especially in the political circles. We draw reference on the economic circles. We draw reference to Singapore all the time, because Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew came to Jamaica, took our political model and went to Singapore and did justice to it, while we still lagging behind. Singapore doesn't have a very effective opposition, but they get the job done and get it done very, very well. So when I hear people, including myself, clamoring about we have to have an effective opposition, I think that is still up for debate. Because if an opposition party doesn't have the ability to learn basic political skills or basic political trends, then that's a problem. Because bear in mind, folks, that what is happening now within the PNP is something that the GLP would have gone through. I am still not certain if what we are seeing now in the PNP is actually comparable to what took place within the GLP. The GLP was divided. Eddie Siaga had a group of persons within the party that weren't in support of him, right? But it was not to the level that we're seeing this now within the PNP. It is significantly worse, and I am not certain if they're at a position to even. I am not certain if they're at a position to even come back from where they are now. They're in a very, very dangerous position as we speak. They're in a very dangerous position. They're in a tailspin. At the worst point of the Jamaica Labour Party division back in the 1990s, the party leader at the time, Edward Seaga, still enjoy at least 83% support within the party. 83% support within the party. As he would have said, it was the division within the JLP back in the 1990s was orchestrated by 9 men. 9 men only. So it wasn't an overwhelming hit against him. It was just a few. So, you know, it is nothing compared to what we're seeing today. What we're seeing today is perhaps the lowest a political party has ever plunged in this country. Now, the question is, though, are they able to come back from this? It's called politics, folks. And a day in politics, a day in politics is a year in real life. So I wouldn't want anybody to get overly excited thinking that this is the end all of the People's National Party. And the fact that they have descended to this low, meaning it's okay for us or for the JLP to become complacent, one, and to start behaving in a particular way that is not beneficial to the movement nor to the people of Jamaica. I think this is a glorious opportunity, though, to do what the party leader, the JLP party leader, the Honorable Andrew Holness, had said in 2016 when he became leader. At his inauguration speech, he mentioned, and I'll never forget it, that he wants to be held accountable by the JLP supporters, the people of Jamaica, so to speak. And it's interesting that this now, what we're seeing now, sort of play right into that request. Yes, and one of my good friends here is just reminding me that I'm correct in saying that it is not comparable. There was division within the JLP, but it is nothing compared. And like I said, it was just 9 men, basically, who was opposed to Edward Seaga's continuation. And they didn't resign. There wasn't an all-out war like we see now. So you're right. You're right, my friend. And if you feel like you want to come on and let us talk some politics, please feel free. But I'd love to invite Ryan if Ryan would love to join me this evening, since we don't have a full slate of guests. But yeah. But what is mind-boggling, though, is if you would have a playbook as to what took place within the PNP back then. You have that as a form of history to refer to. And you would have seen what the division within the JLP back in the 90s caused us. It caused, it's very tricky, you know, guys. What it did, it gave us 18 and a half years of the PNP, because at the time, the JLP was never united enough to fight to win an election. There has never ever been any doubt, you know, in the history of politics in Jamaica, you know, that the Jamaica Labour Party is better at managing the country's affairs and especially economic affairs. There's no doubt. But part of the problem that we face, though, is that we have never mastered the art of winning elections. And one of the key to winning election is to be united. You must sing from the same playbook. There has to be unity. Now, what I'm saying is that how could the PNP be so fortunate to have the history of what happened under the JLP back in the 90s as their tool to learn from, and not using it? They're not using it at all. Because if there was anything to learn, if they learned anything at all from what took place in the 1990s, they could never have allowed themselves to descend into what they are or where they are today. Could never. They could never, ever. But, you know, they say hindsight is always 2020. Hindsight is always 2020, but in this you have history on your side. And I cannot see for the life of me, why is it that they would not, you know, why would they not want to use the past history, if, you know, to guide the future of this infighting? You see, if the foundation that is laid is not solid, then there's no way you're going to grow. There's no way you can build. The foundation on which the Mark Golding administration took over, the manner in which they took over from let's go back to Portia. It was never laid properly. And that's why I don't support runoff, you know. I don't support runoff, period, point blank. Marlene, you're not hearing me? I think, well, I guess you might have to adjust your sound, because everybody else seem to be okay with the sound. I'm not getting any other feedback about the sound. Marlene, I'm not getting any other feedback from anybody else read the sound. So let's go ahead and see if you can adjust your system then. Sound is okay. All right. So I can't figure out, why is it that you would have that sort of history to learn from? The foundation on which the Mark Golding administration took over leadership of the party was never, ever solidified. It was never. You see, let me tell you something. Leadership can come in all different forms, you know. People can lead and people can display all kind of leadership quality. But the only time that your true leadership quality can be tested and can be solidified is when you demonstrate the ability to unify divided forces, you know. When Andrew Holness won the leadership race against Ardisha, that was all well and good. But that never make Andrew the leader he is. No, because winning an election is one. But when you have the ability now to bring the people together, to bring the fraction that supported Ardisha back into the fold, right? When you bring back the people like the Darrell Vases, when you bring back the Ed Bartletts, that is where Andrew proved himself to be the leader, you know. It wasn't his ability to win the election. I mean, you can do all kind of strategy and win an election. It's your ability to offer that level of leadership that can unify people. And we're going to be joined by G2K president in a moment, because we're going to chat some politics this evening. We're going to talk about G2K. G2K has been a staple within the political space, and we haven't had a lot of G2K presence on the block. And, you know, the president is my good friend, so we can always call on him to weigh in on these issues. But we're gonna talk to him about some of what's happening within the halls of the PNP. Them say it's not JLP business, but let me tell you something. Anything that has to do with Jamaican politics is our business. We ought to be concerned if it is that the opposition has become so weakened. It affects our democracy, and it can sometimes put us in a bad light. So we need to get, You know, if I were to be given the task and the job of advising the PNP, as far-fetched and as improbable as it can be, or it has been, if I were to give him that task of advising the PNP, what would I say to Mark Golden? I'd say, Mark, why don't you just sit out the local government election, sit out the next general election, and just rebuild? Sometimes you have to do that, you know. Sometimes you just sit them out, rebuild, recoup, and just come back stronger. Build back stronger. So I think perhaps we might just need to pass on the slogan, build back stronger. The GLP can probably just assign that slogan to the PNP. Let them have it. And let them sit out the next 2 elections and rebuild. Get some new energy. Get some new blood. Get some new people in there. Purge if you have to. Sometimes you have to purge. If you don't have the ability to unify, then the other option is to purge. It's just what it is. So perhaps Mark Golden might be in a position. Yeah, somebody mentioned Christopher Tufton. Yeah, Christopher Tufton. These were the persons who carry a lot of the weight within the other faction of the JLP. And Andrew Holness' administration was able to bring everybody. As it stands now, the Jamaica Labour Party is the most unified I've ever seen it since its inception. I can't speak of any other period, not even in the 1970s, late 70s, when we're going up against, the likes of Michael Manley and the communist regime. We never had that unified. But, we demonstrate the ability to unify the party, and that is the key. The PNP has not learned, and that is so sad. We're going to take a quick break, folks, and we'll come back. We're gonna join by Ryan Strong, the G2K president. And as you know, Ryan is very active on social media, very active throughout the country. I see G2K. Something. It was a year ago, and I said this really quick before we go to the break. A year ago, one of the big discussions was the visibility of G2K. Boy, Chopper, we're not seeing G2K. Boy, G2K not active. Boy, G2K, what is their roles and function? Well, I have not had that question asked in a long while, and I can tell you the reason is because everybody see them, they're all over town. Whether there's an election in the year or not, they're busy. So we're going to take a break and come back. And when we come back, we're going to join by Ryan Strong, the G2K president. Stick and stay. We will be right back.
Full of flavor, no if or no maybe. Malta, my crave on a daily. I couldn't ask for a better cold glass. Coffee can't pass from this. My Malta, my pocket with me. You know I got it with me. I feel have a buckle for myself. Yesterday the shop locked, so today me come back. 2 new flavors on the shelf. Me say me see it and me grab it and me love it and buy it. My mommy take it and she pull it and try it. She say Malta in the morning, afternoon or night. And she finish it, she don't need no help. Drink them more. Coffee or vanilla, the Jamaican original. Have it with my lunch and my dinner. Ginseng with the ginger, make you settle and you simmer. Good for the baller and the singer. Make you feel good and it tastes real nice. Better when cool, so we put it on ice. Take a sip once, if you take a sip twice. Mother full of flavor for life. Mother full of flavor for life.
You can be anything you want in a life, and where you come from, and where your mindset deck. Look on me, now we come from the yard, and the ghetto wanna represent the brand Pepsi. Hey.
Yeah, we're doing it for the love. So good here, we can't get enough. Every taste, every vibe, every kick in a hit. I can rise up above.
For the love of taste, I can.
For the love of self-expression, I can. For the love of standing out, I can.
For the love of myself, I can.
For the love of moving people, I can.
For the love of my country, I can.
Jamaican, I can. Jamaican, I can. Jamaican, I can. Jamaican, I can. Proud to be a Jamaican.
right, so welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So as we said before, our G2K president is here, and we are going to bring him on stream. Ryan,
What's
greetings.
going on, big boss?
How are you? How you doing? It's been a minute.
I know it's been too long. I'm all right.
Yeah, man.
All right. Good
Like
to have
I
a
said,
free weekend.
yes, like I said before, there was a time when the phone calls and the questions used to be asked. Where is G2K and what's happening and all that good stuff. I haven't had that call in a while. And I would have said to you, boy, Ryan, I get this call, what's going on?
Yeah,
We haven't had
sure.
it because you have solved that problem by being visible. I gather that you are actually in St. Catherine today, your team.
Yeah, we're planting trees in Portmore. So what we had to do coming into the year, knowing it was a pandemic, we decided we're going to focus on outreach, as a means of contributing to the society, but specifically to contributing to what candidates in the Labour Party or MPs or councillors just want to do some work. I think, it's easy to fall into the trap of doing nothing because there's nothing going on. And we didn't want that. We really wanted to say, listen, we're going to create some impact. We're going to deepen our relationships, and we're going to really be the national movement that had been envisioned. That's one of the things I came into this year saying we wanted to do, because being a national movement actually helped us a lot in the elections and in terms of how we're able to contribute in several areas at the same time and create an impact that way. I accept that, could have been a bit more visible in some cases, but, we did a fair amount.
Mm-hmm. One of the things, I remember you and I probably had that conversation some time ago, and I had looked at the mandate of the G2K movement. And one of the things is that the movement started out when the Jamaica Labour Party was in opposition, and they needed to bring in talents, bring in qualified, capable people to join the party. And I had a very lengthy discussion. I think I made you aware of it with some folks. And I had said to them, boy, I think we need to revisit the mantra and what the direction in which G2K goes. And I'm very pleased, because what you're saying now is definitely taking on more national projects and prominence other than just the mere recruitment of professionals. Is that a shift, a slight shift, or a broader scope that you guys have decided to take on now?
Well, yeah, most certainly, in my that's one of the things as president I've decided. I'm a grown man. I'm not the kind of person to sit at a distance and issue instructions. I want to get involved and get my hands dirty myself. So the organization sometimes will take on the personality of the leader or the leadership group. So, both the general secretary and myself, we are like heavily involved in what goes on in the active politics on the ground. So I'll give you an example. So June 19th, that must have been 3 weeks ago, I think. I was in St. James for business, and we had a central executive meeting the Saturday at the Montego Bay Convention Center. I know you know about this, but perspective. So the Friday we went to Westmoreland to link up with Carleen. Oh, happy birthday, Carleen. I don't know if you're watching. And down Pastor Cornwall Mountain Councillor.
Yes.
And went and sat and spoke, talk politics and whatever. And that's just an example of the kind of thing that we do know. I can't say it was always done that way before. It may have been, but I can only speak from my perspective. That's the kind of thing that we do a lot of, because It's important, it matters, and it also builds in that communication. So, for instance, if they have a project that's involving young people and they want us to participate, it's a lot easier when they're familiar with each other versus when you know, maybe on Facebook, but don't really, you know, never really, you know,
Don't
been in the
know,
same
right?
or etc. etc. So it's just executing that. And there've been other projects we've done across the island, Clarendon, and St. James again, and St. Mary, all over the place.
Well, that's great because, you know, and that's like I said to you, that's probably one of the reasons why we're not getting a lot of questions about where's UK, because you guys are busy, and I love that because you're touching lives, you're touching people. No, I don't want to draw you into the, you know, people say this thing is a PNP matter, but you would be very much aware of what's happening at 89 Old Road Road. We're in the streets. We're out there, we see what's happening.
Right.
What's your view on it though? What do you think? How you feel about? Well, I want to say how you feel.
Right.
The opposition as it stands now is so focused on their own internal affairs. How difficult for them now to focus on the issues of governance?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, you know, because I have said for a while that I think, and I mean, you know, I'm not really here to offer solutions to the opposition, but I think for a long time they have been focused on the wrong things. And I think it's always a thing of trying to appear a certain way, you know, without acknowledging the reality. So, you know, the song Far From Reality, you know, that they live in dreamland, you know. And then today now on the news, I heard the party leader speaking about, well, their party leader, PNP party leader speaking about elections, local government, and general elections. And I'm like, well, I mean, all due respect, you kind of a long way to go to get there. You know, we don't even know if it's a challenge. You know, you're talking about elections and your house on fire. So what, you know, where is the focus? You know what I mean? Like, you had a deal that was breached, your YO president left, you have audit fraud, you have a fraud in the YO, and then now you have your VPs resigning before a conference. And you're talking about elections. I said, Bridget, where's your focus? You know, but I mean, my business still, but you know.
That's why I said to myself earlier, you know, had I been given the opportunity to advise, I would say, look, forget about these elections and all that stuff and focus on rebuilding, because we need the opposition. And I said this, you know, I say it guardedly because I made reference earlier, Ryan, to countries like Singapore and other countries who operate. I mean, there's probably 2 countries in the Caribbean now who don't have an opposition. I don't know if Barbados has an opposition. I don't think so.
No, I think it's a clean sweep there. 15
sweep. I think Grenada is probably one.
Yeah, Grenada too. Grenada was right. Hello or something.
And they're functioning. They're functioning. I'm not saying they're anywhere close to Jamaica, but they're functioning. So this whole thing about we can't function without the opposition. I agree, but it's up for debate.
I don't know about that, because when we were going through our issues, the country was, I mean, yes, they mashed up the country, but the point is the country was still functioning. So, you know, yes, it would be ideal to have a functioning one, but, you know, the labor rights spirit, we're not going to allow anybody to do anything that's not we don't approve of and we don't say nothing. You know how all of us stay.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
of it. You know, we're not just going to the line. We support because we genuinely support, but I'm not so worried about, you know, I know how my people stand. We're very vocal when it comes to issues and concerns and love costs.
So basically you're saying, you are saying, which is what I think I'm agreeing with you. You're saying that the country on a whole has the ability to hold the government to account, even in light of the opposition not being able to.
Absolutely. I'm even going further. I'm saying the Labour Party can hold itself accountable as well, because you know, anybody who goes anywhere among certain labor rights know when there's an issue, you're going to hear the labor right mouth loudest of all.
Yes.
Right? You just want to see the first, you know, in question. So I'm not as concerned. I mean, we already know where civil society falls. We already know where a lot of the unions fall. We already know where at least one newspaper falls. So we're not going to tense as far as how the society has been structured for the time being. But I mean, that is just side talk. And the truth is, again, 25 years ago, I wasn't hearing that kind of dialogue. Granted, I was younger, but I didn't hear anybody saying, "Oh well, the democracy is threatened" or whatever.
No, they were busy. They were getting on with business.
Yeah,
But
but
that's also funny, Ryan, is that if back in the life, boy, I tell you, it's always hindsight is always 2020. If we had, let's say, an Andrew Holness administration like we have today,
Mm.
in the form of the PNP back in the 1990s, and the PNP was so dysfunctional to the extent that it gave us an 18-and-a-half-year rule, Jamaica today would be a first world country.
Yeah, man, no question. I mean,
Absolutely.
absolutely. We have the size, we have the location in terms of the ports. We have a vibrant stock market that I cannot emphasize enough that the Labour Party has built, developed, and when others tried to mash it up, thank God 2016 went the way it did, and it was recovered. A lot of what we are seeing happening in Jamaica now, and it's not spoken about enough, because I don't think enough people get it, is due to the friendliness of the capital markets. No, the way that you can raise money, you can sell a business on the stock exchange, you can have new people investing, you have household companies coming to market, that's one. And then you have access to foreign exchange as well. And I gather in Trinidad or Barbados, you can get $50 a day. So if you have US in, you can't get it out. We cannot take these things for granted.
For granted. And boy,
these are the things that generate business and drive business. And so the other day, you had Mr. Wright on here talking about how he would have built his business more or less from ground zero. That is the mechanisms that a vibrant capital market, a vibrant stock market, access to foreign exchange create for Jamaica. That's why you have so many companies in Trinidad and Barbados coming to Jamaica now to list on the stock exchange. Guardian Holdings is one. Guardian Holdings is probably worth $500 million, $500 million, if not, up that side,
Are they listing on the Jamaica Stock Exchange now?
Yeah, man, they cross-listed about three months ago.
Wow.
These are the things that we can't overlook. A friendly business society or environment brings all of these benefits that we're seeing. So I have no doubt that 18 years of this government's approach, and not just this one. I mean, as I said, the stock market was created in the 60s. That was with Mr. Siaga as finance minister, and I think it was the Share administrator. You come into the 80s and there's more stuff happening there, and then junior stock market was the golden administration, and the Holness administration brought it back. So it's a philosophy of the party. So when I hear people say the facts are the same, it's not the same, but it's a very simple narrative to try and blur the lines. And when the time I hear people say that, I know it's some classic PNP saying it anyway. So
let me just heal up Southeast St. Catherine MP Robert Miller, Big Rob, and he says to big you up, Ryan, because he's on, he's watching, and he's appreciative of your team in his constituency today, planting trees and all that good stuff. So big up to yourself, and big up to Big Rob. You see, Ryan, I'm happy you brought that discussion, brought that context into the discussion, because a lot of times, folks, we have the discussion about Jamaica and where we rank within the Caribbean. And people cuss Jamaica, oh, we're full of crime and with this and with that and with that. But a lot of people don't recognize, some of the things that we take for granted here doesn't exist in some of the countries that we point fingers to, And you just made mention of one important thing a while ago, the access to foreign exchange.
Absolutely.
And the limit as to the amount you can get to do business and all that good stuff. It doesn't exist in Jamaica, but it exists in other countries.
And it's not till I go there they realize, and then they say, God, thank God for Jamaica. But it's the truth. Yeah. I mean, business persons tell you, and that's why I'm of the view that, and I mean, you've heard people say it, and I don't think it's emphasized enough. When they say that, Jamaica is a pearl of the Caribbean, that's realistic. It's the truth because of all of what I would have mentioned before. Business-wise, we're talking now, and the upside is more tremendous because we have a number of sectors that provide growth in and of themselves. And again, capital market helps that because any industry needing money can raise it publicly, transparently, and it creates appeal for foreigners to also participate. And as you know, and I mean, these are the things that create more jobs, create economic growth, lower unemployment, which is why our unemployment is at 9% now and falling. Remember, 15 years ago, we were never near 9% unemployment.
Nowhere near.
I mean, unemployment was 30+% back in that time. So the shift is happening. Yes, we have to upskill, and yes, there's more stuff we need to do. And I honestly believe the government is doing it. The infrastructure is a big part of it. These things will be part of advancing, right? But as far as where we are now, we have a lot to be thankful for, I would say.
Well, I'll tell you something, because when I look at what pertains in other islands, and I've always said this, that Jamaica is the superpower of the Caribbean. And it doesn't matter who slice and dice it. We can talk about crime all we want. In the United States, every city that gets developed, once the city starts to develop, it brings with it a certain level of crime and violence. Because that's just what development brings. It brings that with it. I mean, when you measure it out, overall, the development is going to bring more good than bad, but it comes with bad too. And Jamaica is no different. Jamaica is way more developed than almost all Caribbean countries. I mean, I've debated this with people from Eastern Caribbean, people from Grenada, people from Barbados, people from Trinidad. Jamaica is way ahead. And if we're way ahead in terms of infrastructure development, Ryan, then it means that it's gonna come with its problem, and part of the problem is criminality to some extent.
I mean, it's undeniable that we have a long-standing societal challenge, right? What I think what's happening for the first time, however, is necessary investments created to combat it. And I say again, that I've been hearing the Commissioner of Police speak about crime statistics and measures being taken to address it in the medium term. For at least, and I mean, this is through Rotary now. He has a present to my Rotary Club, and he had the statistics on the board and the map and everything. And it was hearing him talk. And I said it about 4 years ago. I said, I get the impression that this commissioner knows what he's about, what he's doing, and he's taking a very strategic set of steps to get us to where we need to be. I think when we say the police HQ move to no man's land, I think in the Western Kingston Police Division, not constituency, I think that will be a game changer as well, because then now you'll have some measure of structure in the policing mechanism in that area of the country. And I mean, that's also because you have so much business going on Spanish Town Road now, right? I mean, they just broke ground for an $8 million headquarters for Caterpillar, the industrial business on Spanish Town Road. So it already suggests that industrialization is kicking and alive and well in the country. These were parcels of land that were previously deserted before, or factories that Coca-Cola or whomever left, just abandoned.
Yes.
Right? So when you hear about economic upturns here and you hear about depression elsewhere, we lost 25 years because of that 18-year PNP government. It's just the reality, and I think it's the world is really a cycle. It's really amazing to see all of this unfold as it is now. But yeah, I do think though we will start to see criminality addressed. We're already starting to see. I mean, I don't know if anybody's captured the statistics, but I can't recall this many high-profile gang leaders and members being arrested. Being named as wanted persons, some being killed, some being jailed.
Some running away.
Running away, and being caught when they're trying to go to, some other Caribbean island by boat. These things you weren't really hearing a lot about before. So I have no doubt that we will be able to call a crime. I mean, not in a year. I can say 5 years. I'm sure we'll be under 1,000 murders. I have no worries where that's concerned.
Well, look at the input though, in terms of the infrastructure development for the police force. Unprecedented. I mean, Absolutely. We've never seen so many police stations being built before. I've never seen it. This is just mind-boggling. So now, and years ago, when you hear the police come out and talk about the living condition, the conditions under which they operate, one used to criticize them, I said, boy, them are PNP, boy, them are this, them are that. But now when you start to see the physical infrastructure that they exist in compared to what they are given now, you start to realize, that there was some genuine concern about their living condition back then.
Absolutely. And it must have been demoralizing also, no? I mean,
Yeah.
you see some place with one restroom, both, males and females have to use. I mean, and, roof a leak and for catch water in a bucket, you can't have your security forces working in conditions like that. No, it's great that it's being addressed. I don't have the numbers before me, but I know, I have the number 40 something in my head in terms of rehabilitation, but that may not be accurate. But the reality is I haven't seen this much either. I'm 38, so my memory goes back at least 20 years, and I can't recall it. I can't recall it.
It's a whole lot, man. I mean, when you look at even the, somebody, I was listening to a voice note recently that was circulated in a PNP group, and it was on one of the radio stations. I think it was Aja recently, and the gentleman was saying that, boy, him cannot understand if the underholders administration believe that buying boat and helicopter give police are gonna solve crime. I said to myself, boy, we lost.
That says it all.
It sums it up for me there.
It says it all, because that just shows the lack of understanding as far as what criminality involves. It's a multinational business. It's not a
business
neighborhood corner thing. It's a literal structure with a hierarchy, just like an office, a regular business, just like a Red Stripe or Grace Kennedy has a CEO on board and all that. The same thing in criminal organizations. And listen, you remember they caught the brethren by, I think it's Rocky Point. He was trying to, I think it's going to murder or something. I think what I'm hearing is that if somebody never talked or wasn't a Coast Guard, one or two, that person would not have been arrested. And you said to yourself, well, if that's one, imagine how many persons could have fled if our waters were as porous as they were before.
As they were, right.
So the investment is
it's crazy. So we've seen significant, and Ryan, if you were to go back and check my personal history in commentating on these things, you would know what my position is on the police force. And when I tell you, because remember, I have been adamant that the police force is corrupt, beyond repair, and must be abolished. That was my belief fully. But when I watch, and I watch the transformation happening in front of my eyes, I said this was impossible. I said you cannot pour clean wine in a dirty vessel.
Yes,
it can't happen. But then we start to look back at it, and even the very theory and analogy about pouring clean wine. If you have enough clean wine to pour in that vessel, you can actually water down the bad wine,
Yeah, of course, because you like this, you outnumber. I think, let's say if you change in a culture, you have to outnumber the number of persons who may be corrupt with the new with the desired characteristics. So if you have 5 bad and you want to change a culture, you have to bring in 10 good, something to that effect. Something I'm very familiar with at multiple organizations. So I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
You have to change
well, I'm seeing this working right in front of my eyes now, where you realize that the amount of investment into the police force, and it's paying off. When you look at the amount of people being, I think police now have a sense of pride in doing their work. They feel, and the society too must be given some credit, because I think the Jamaican society is now appreciative of when police do good. One time we never talk about it, we don't see it.
Yeah.
But now it's visible.
The tools to perform, you can frustrate workers if they don't have the appropriate tools to execute. And I give you another good example. There was a So most times now when people get robbed, they tend to see the footage, right? You realize that's a cultural shift, right?
Yeah.
No, there was a robbery that happened, I think, somewhere in Mona because of Jamaica Eye and whatever. They were able to catch the guys, I think, by South Avenue or something like that, and relaying word to this base to go block off the road and whatever. And I think that represented a shift, most certainly for the social media onlookers, that technology was now starting to be not just spoken of, but is actually being used and delivering results that people feel, and that Jamaica Eye initiative that a lot of people before this administration, the one before, spoke about, got quotes for, said X dollars may be spent on X amount, and we as a nation couldn't see any results. We are now seeing results coming from the use of technology in the application of security measures. And I think that now is, again, that's a watershed moment, and I believe it will become commonplace. Because the truth is, when we see a robbery on video now, nobody's surprised. When you hear the perpetrator is caught, or let's say X person was killed, nobody's surprised anymore, because it speaks to a culture. It's changing.
Yes. Yes. Years ago, I said, Ryan, that what we have to do as a nation and as a police force is to narrow the gap. The possibility of you getting away when you commit a crime in Jamaica was extremely high. If we can narrow that gap where the possibility of you getting caught is high, which is what is happening now. When a crime is committed, you can bet your last dollar that within 48 hours, I like to use the first 48 as my yardstick. 48 hours, somebody is going to be caught, brought in for questioning or charged. And that's a good thing. Because I've watched criminologists in the United States. I've watched the ACP, the Atlanta Police, ADP, Atlanta Police, APD, sorry, Police Department. They have this first 48 thing, where they believe that within the first 48 hours, if them not catch you, them start to lose the case. They start to lose the momentum. So, and I see that playing out in our security forces now, where that is happening. I'm gonna pick your brain a little bit on so we're comfortable that a lot of stuff, good stuff, is happening where national security is concerned. The economy, COVID and the economy. COVID wiped out our economy. We still have not seen a single cruise ship dock back in Jamaica, and that played a significant role in our foreign exchange intake. You understand the financial market way more than I do. The debt to GDP moved from 148, and we had brought it down to somewhere in the region of 96. You and I know what the value of that is. It gave the government greater fiscal space to spend and to do more development. That has shifted, because that moved from 98 back up to the 100 and a little bit now. How is that impacting the financial market and the economy on a whole? I'm not expecting to speak like the finance minister, but you're in the market, you understand it way more than I do. How is that impacting the financial market?
Well, it's a very, all right, let me start from, I think the impact has been on, so the top of the market, I don't think has been affected much. As
when you say the top of the market, what do you refer to as that?
Like the wealthiest Jamaicans, to put it crudely. But I think the real impact has been in certain sectors, entertainment, hospitality, transport, restaurants. So that in turn would impact the businesses of like the richest Jamaicans. But in terms of their like savings and whatever, not so much, they're able to weather the storm. But persons like most of us who need to earn consistently to live and continue, we all would have been impacted one way or the other, broadly speaking. So at the time now, so I'll give some, again, real examples. I have friends who are in the transportation business, no taxis running, so they weren't able to earn, and it was just that the hustle to survive, right? You had restaurants. Somebody owned 2 small restaurants or cook shops. They have to close one and consolidate into one because less business. This is like March last year, March, April, May, when you had the same Catherine lockdown as well. Then you had hotels, many of whom were closed, had to lay off the staff. So I go to Montego Bay at least once a month for business. And I remember, I think around May last year, it was the first time I'd ever seen the strip quiet. Everywhere was closed. No business was open on the strip. You know, the hip strip, Gloucester Drive, or Jimmy Cliff, whatever the name is.
Yeah. So Bottom Road.
That's right. Bottom Road. That's where we're coming from. Where we are now is there is no question there is a recovery. The hotels are full. I mean, I was in one. I noticed from about February that there was traction, because I remember I went to dinner and the lobby was, I mean, they couldn't do 100%, but they really were at their capacity as far as numbers they could have in the time, go. So now you have hotels saying they're booked out for until like next week after, they are full. Now with this 11 o'clock, what is also done is there's a business, we had the CEO of Island Grill who spoke at my Rotary meeting, July 8th, that's going 2 weeks ago. And she said for every hour every extra hour they are open after 6 o'clock, they generate 10% more sales.
Yes.
So add 10% revenue for every hour after 6 or 5, because they do all their business after work.
Right.
So it seems that now there's starting to be some business returning in that area as well. So I would say, my read, I think the economy is going to get back to, I'd say 90% of capacity once we are able to get to keep this 11 o'clock window going.
But Ryan, notwithstanding that though, we keep that window going and it's impacting in a positive way. But let me ask this though, with the relaxing of the measures, if there's any negative fallout as it relates to the numbers in terms of COVID cases increasing, we're not going to see that today. I'm anticipating that we would see that somewhere in the region of September.
But yes, of course. Because remember, they say it's a 2 week lag, from the relaxing. So it's from today's the 17th, 18th. I think we relax on the 1st. So it will be a rollover effect, so to speak. I think
if we were to have a really serious negative effect, you would have started seeing that already, no?
I think we'd have seen the real impact, because the other thing that doesn't come up a lot. See, I'm a numbers guy, so I look at this stuff. Average, we have 1,000 recoveries a day, which means our backlog. So active cases now is like 3,200. So I mean, by Monday or Tuesday, maybe in the hundreds of active cases, in addition to whatever we add. My hope, we just need to get more vaccines, get more people vaccinated. But in terms of the business side of things, I think we're starting to see the wheels turning again. And again, great financial management. Yes, we had the money from Trans Jamaica IPO, Wigton IPO, which we're going to use to pay down debt. That was able to provide some relief. And then, of course, without our borrowing, and debt to GDP would have gone up a bit.
Right.
However, other nations have had to borrow, and
significantly.
They can't repay. Some of them are having challenges repaying the debt. No, some are having challenges.
You ever hear this question, Ryan? Have you ever gotten this question recently? Where this money come from? Because look, we would get this. I mean, you wonder how we survive this.
And again, it comes on to policy. The Labour Party through the years has practiced a policy of governments should facilitate business, but should not really be in the business of running business. And what it has done is divested over the years a number of entities. So in 2011, we sold Mavis Bank Coffee. In the 80s, we sold NCB and Carib Cement through the stock exchange, right? Recently now we sold Wigton and we sold the Trans-Jamaica Highway. So in selling it, there was a cash lump sum that we had in hand, which we were going to use to pay down debt to bring us now to about 85% debt to GDP to get to the 60% by 2025. Now with COVID, we had to shift that lump sum now from that towards COVID relief. So it was a good problem to have in that we had the cash in hand, and yes, we're inconvenienced, but we never had to borrow to compensate for that, for that necessary measure that we took. So that's really where the money came from, and that was a direct policy of the government, which is comprised of Jamaica Labour Party members.
Good governance and good policies, as the minister would say. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's great. So as it relates now, your outlook, how do you see us? I mean, I think we should vaccines are coming on stream. I'm expecting, based on what we've heard from the minister and the prime minister, is that we're expected to get an influx of over 1 million doses of the one jab Johnson & Johnson soon. No.
Yeah.
Once we get that, obviously there is the uptake of vaccine. I know we have the ability to roll that out and to administer it pretty quickly. We have demonstrated that by delivering over 70,000 within 2-3 days.
2-3 days, yeah. 83 something like that a weekend, yeah.
Right. So we have the ability to do it. Now, are you picking up out there that there is a reluctance to get the job?
Yeah, I pick it up to an extent, I tell you, and I think it's not surprising because of the approach that has been taken thus far, and the approach that's been taken thus far has been in the environment of relative scarcity and addressing priority groups. What I think needs to happen with there is going to be increased supply, which I gather is going to happen because I read a comment from Minister Tufton to that effect. When this bundle comes in, and there's going to be a donation of 300,000 from England that should be here.
Finally, it's about time.
Yeah, none from America, some from England. So
it's about time.
I won't say anything more on that, but you know that. So when you have a bundle of them, right, and you have to go, and you can go to a pharmacy or a health center go get it, and then you'll be able to know. Remember when they had the COVID AIDS, I think it was, or COVID, when they go to the community to community sensitization process for COVID management now, I think it's going to require a rollout like that for vaccinations, because a lot of what's out there is because of a lack of information. My view, and I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm guessing that the government say, hear me now, we need to get our most vulnerable vaccinated. We will get to that community sensitization when the time is right, because we don't have the supply to deal with that right now. That's my view, because we heard Minister Tufton say that shift is going to come in terms of administering of the vaccine doses. So I think we'll get about, if I had to guess, 700,000 for the year is done. If we get that much of Johnson & Johnson, I mean, single dose, more or less that's one jab and done. And remember, the athletes going to Tokyo now and the reggae boys have gotten Johnson & Johnson shots, most of them already. There was a 600 secured, I think, private donation or whatever, I don't remember, but there's a picture in the paper today with all of them taking their jabs. So it's just a matter of time. And then when you can go to a pharmacy and get it as well, I know for a fact some pharmacies have expressed an interest
in administering
at least one, a big one, so you can guess who that is. I think it's part of the shift as well.
Well, it would be good if by year end we can at least have 1 million jabs in arm. If we're at that level, then the rest of it is going to be over time. My biggest fear, though, is that we get a significant amount of doses on the island, and because Jamaicans are funny, Ryan. If the numbers go down, if the numbers go down, and we have the jobs, nobody not take it,
Yeah. It's going to be harder.
Yeah, we're reactive people. So, at the time when the numbers were climbing in the 600 and 700, if we had the vaccine, then we would have been in a better position to get them in arms. But boy, it's going to be a fight. But we're looking forward to it because I think,
The other thing to remember is that they haven't really opened it up to under 40s yet. So I think that's also going to be a big block of persons that will be ready to take it. Those who have not been.
The ones who the under 40 are the ones who follow social media, have their WhatsApp and the different videos telling them not to take it, But I'm very optimistic. I think we're going to get to herd immunity very soon, and I think the economy is going to rebound. All I can say, you and I need to have some discussion as it relates to the stock market and the financial market, because when this rebound comes, I don't want to be left out there, and I'm imploring the folks on here to talk to Ryan because he understands the market, and you have to position yourself because it's coming.
I tell you, because I said this to people, two things. One, don't wait for Jamaica to become crime-free to invest in Jamaica, because if that happens, you won't be able to afford it. That's the first thing. So you want to buy, right? That's the first thing. Second thing, a stock as recommending Grace Kennedy has more or less doubled this year, even in the COVID environment. We know the U.S. market has rebounded past pre-COVID levels, but Grace Kennedy has doubled in the last year. So even in the midst of difficulties, doubled. Yeah, even in the midst of difficulties, there's still opportunities. And when you buy big businesses that everybody knows, nobody can say, "Oh, I don't know nothing about Grace Kennedy." So it's I say, yeah, the time is now. And anytime I speak anywhere and I'm asked, I always try to emphasize, buy what you understand and buy now. If we wait, if Jamaica's crime literally falls under 500, 99% maybe to buy there. Yeah, there are places where across the world where foreigners have bought all of the prime spots. So we have all of this before us, and we're already see it starting to happen. Certain parts of downtown Kingston, you cannot get land.
Can't get it.
People just not selling it, and it's moving further now from the water going up.
Yes.
So, and when Mayor Williams is done developing down there, how that going to look already. So
precisely.
Time is now.
Precisely. I was trying to get him on a few weeks ago because I wanted to talk about that, because downtown Kingston, I'm very passionate about downtown for a couple of reasons. I read years ago part of the development plan that Edward Seaga and the JLP had for downtown Kingston back in the 80s. And it just never materialized because of politics and because of non-continuation of policies. I'm very pleased with this administration. Some of the policies some of the initiatives that we're enjoying today were initiated, some of them by the People's National Party, and the JLP carried them through. And I think that is how you grow a country. You can't, every time you change the administration, you change the policies and you just stop in mid-air. So I'm very passionate about downtown, and I agree with you, because when you look, I travel. I did a bit of traveling, and I want to say this to you, that I did a bit of traveling recently, last few weeks, and let me tell you something. When you go on that flight and you see people loading up to come to Jamaica, and I talk about tourists. I was on a flight where a huge percentage of it were white people coming to Jamaica, excited about coming to Jamaica. And I'm saying, I sit there and I said, boy, this is just, it just give me goose pimples when you hear people. When I see people in them hat and them gears, a group of 45 women taking their girls' trip to Jamaica, and they have on a girls' trip shirt, and brothers and fellas, and you're like, wow. These guys live up for how long to vacate in a place that I live. Goodmanfield. We call it home. We call it vacation spot. It's a joy, man. It's a joy.
It's the best food, the best environments. You know, I mean, Jamaica is a blessed place. You know, like you, I mean, every time I travel and I look around, I say, boy, it's good to be here. But, you know, home is really a special,
Home is
special
with the
place.
artist, man. You
It's a
know,
special place.
I live in the US, you know, and let me tell you something. I am extremely grateful to the United States for for a number of reasons. One particular reason I'm very grateful to the US for is the exposure that I've gotten from that country. Living in a first world country, understanding things from a different perspective. I worked for the US military for 5 years. That experience I'll never ever forget. But when you embark on a flight to Jamaica, it's when you touch Montego Bay or Kingston, brethren, it's a different feeling, Ryan. Different feeling.
Yeah,
and I said to people on here, and you've been saying it for quite a while. I've said it to a lot of my friends who live in the diaspora. I'm not telling you to pack up shop and what have you. But invest in Jamaica. You can't lose. Jamaica stock market, Jamaica real estate market. I can't remember in my lifetime it has ever gone in reverse. In other words, devalued. It is always increasing.
You're right.
Always.
You're right. And it's growing in US dollar terms, and it's growing in terms of the supply, because that's why everywhere you look now, you see cranes and development.
Yeah.
Again, you know, I said the people, you know, where there is I think where the AC Marriott now is, and the BMW dealership in Kingston was an empty plot of land for years.
I remember that. So I remember that.
Like, you know, now it's a multi-million-dollar facility.
Yeah, remember, I owned and operated a restaurant in Harford. You know, the restaurant a lot of people don't know. I owned and operated a restaurant in Harford, adjacent to York Pharmacy. So I know the terrain, I know the place.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
And when me tell you, say, when me look around, and me look at 7th Avenue, and me see the high rise around the south.
20 South.
Yeah, 20 South. We said to myself, I said, boy, something, what's happening? The other day, me count 9 high-rise me counted from Stadium East, from out of Stadium come all the way back around. 9 of them me count. And these are just 9 when me sit in passing.
Yep.
9 of them, brethren.
Yep.
And I implore you, come back and invest, brother, because this is where it's at. I mean, as Ryan said a while ago, a few years, if you sit back and wait until the issues, the underlying issues that Jamaica faces is corrected, you and I won't be able to afford a piece of land or a business place or a building. So now is the time to do it.
People who are, and you see, even people who took a gamble 5 years ago, you know, would have benefited. But
since I have you on, you know, Ryan, we probably need to just get into a little bit of this. If let's say a couple of my folks here have $2,000 and want to invest, what, and without you know, compromising your position as a financial guy, how do you advise that individual?
Well, it's gonna come down to, all right, so let me start here. Let's back up a bit. So
yeah,
I speak about stocks a lot because really people think stocks is for the rich person, you know. You can open a stock portfolio with $1,000 Jamaican dollars, right? And buy a stock online, and that's it. You don't need 10 million or 100 million, whatever. If you're gonna buy like a bond or government paper or whatever, you're talking 100,000, 500,000 Jamaican or whatever. So 2,000 US, I would say to the person, we need to buy some stocks. And we need to buy some good businesses, because really, and this is one of the things that people use to deceive when they say like the Jamaica Labour Party about stock market, that's a big man. No, the stock market is for the little man. The little man can buy a $1,000 stock. You can't buy $1,000 of real estate. You can't buy $1,000 land. Right? So you buy stocks and you buy good businesses. You see construction booming, you have Carib Cement, it's $93 for one share. You see milk powder selling a lot, you have Alaska Manufacturing, it's $5.40 Jamaican a share. You like tropical rhythms, or you see Grace Kennedy expanding in the US, which it is, you can get 1 unit of Grace Kennedy for $100 a share. Jamaican.
Blue chip.
Blue chip. If you like real estate, you have Panjam, which own all of New Kingston, and 30% of Sagicor, $70 a share. Jamaican. These are the ways that people build wealth. People have a careless $2,000 US in their bank account. Because we know it's not. It's people cannot, especially overseas, work hard, you put away the money. Sometimes a man go and dance and burn up half of that in a night. We know the game, right? You can have that in a stock account, you forget about it for 5 years. You come back and it's 10,000. That's just the reality of the stock market, because you are investing in the growth of these businesses. So I can advise people. I don't do a lot of client-to-client work anymore.
Right.
The advice is the advice. That's really the business, So I say for free, Carb Cement, Panjam, Grace Kennedy, Alaska Manufacturing. You get the account open, and you mean anybody, go to broker and you say, I want those. You buy them, you put them down. The dividend checks come to your house, and you don't need to do anything. You're an owner of the business. If you want to buy more, if you want to give it to your children, whatever. We have seen people become multi-millionaires in very passive ways. If you think about it, somebody who was buying Ray and Nephew, which is the maker of Ray and Nephew White Rum and Appleton and whatever, they were public up to, I don't know, 6 years ago. Point is, in the 90s, you could buy those shares for $1 a share, right? By the 15 years later, you will be paying like 700 and something for it in Jamaican dollars. So from 1 to 700.
Mm-hmm.
That's wealth creation. That's 7,000% in a bus.
Brethren, the mindset ran, and I can tell you that I grew up thinking that way. Is education, and educating myself sort of break me away from it. But I grew up believing that the stock market, the language, the name, the way it operates, is for the big man.
Awesome.
It's for the rich. Until Winton Wind Farm came out and Jamaicans start to get more interested in stock, the average guy never believed that we could buy stocks.
And the worst part, you had PNP operatives online saying Wigton was a scam.
Yeah.
And what the point I'm making is that, I'm in the political process because it genuinely resonates with me. And, I'm a laborite because I genuinely believe in what the party stands for. So it's very easy for me to speak on these things from political standpoint or finance standpoint. And the fact is, when Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance said, listen, Wigton's IPO is here and one would do well to consider it, speak to a financial advisor about it. At the very minimum, Wigton has made 20% for any investor, at the very minimum. So, long time. Some made 40%, some made 80% and sold. Some would have made 90% and sold. It's still above IPO price now. I mean, there may be challenges like any other business, but the point is people haven't lost.
Right.
So there are 16,000 investors who were not investing before. And investing is not the kind of thing you do once, especially if you do well. You're going to do more. They've, by their will and execution of a plan, they have shifted the culture in Jamaica now. IPOs in 2013, when I did Creamy, which was Caribbean Cream, which is a deal I brought to the company I was at, you had 300 applicants, right? In
300.
300. You don't have an IP, and that was what would eventually become a leading ice cream maker in Jamaica. It's up 600%, done very well. You do not have no less than 1,500 applicants for any IPO. Some is 4,000. Some is 6,000.
You're talking about 400-500%.
Yeah, comfortably. So the interest has grown tremendously.
And you're attributing that interest to what specifically?
I'm attributing it to a few things, but one is definitely the resurrection of the junior market when the JLP won in 2016, because the interest had come down to a trickle again. Wigton, another step. Trans-Jamaica, another step. With Cinco, which came before the two of them, most of all. And again, so much things happen that people overlook. With Cinco came to markets because of confidence. They said, we can now finally get the valuation that is appropriate for our family business that we have built up for 50 years, or however many years it was. These are shows of confidence in the Jamaican economy. So it's no surprise that the business sector may be, happy with much of what the government has done, because they know where they feel it in their pockets. The pockets benefit. So it's a lot of good things are happening. As I said before, all the steps are not coincidental. I wrote an article to that effect. And we now have to make sure that none of this misses us. Okay, you know what will happen? 5 years, whereas at 800 or whatever, I really hope it gets to 0 one day, but we may never see that, of course. You can't buy, you won't even be able to buy. I went to Monaco and we could not, if you want to buy a beer, you cannot buy a beer in certain places. You're paying like 2 million euros for 500 square feet of land, of an apartment complex. Yeah. 500 square feet. I have known, and Monaco is crime free, billionaires live there, whatever. But it really don't have nothing to Jamaica. It's very small. It have nothing to downtown Kingston. The food
if we have a crime reduction of 50%, Ryan, you're saying that
can't buy nothing.
Can't buy nothing. Well, I'm holding on to whatever I can hold on to now, because I know, I'm very confident that the crime and murder rate is going to go down significantly.
Yeah, I remember, the thing is, all the things people talk about other Caribbean islands and all that. Remember, they're less violent, so they may have hit their peak already.
Right. Right.
We're nowhere near ours.
Yeah.
So you're seeing the best of them. They haven't seen the best of us yet.
Wow. Well, there you have it, folks. I don't know what else to say.
Imagine Jamaica with 100 murders in a year. What would the country look like?
Paradise again.
Yes, paradise again. So it's like, if we want to do well for ourselves and future generations, we have to take advantage. No, it may seem expensive. No. But Legion been saying this for 10 years. You talk about Harlem, and how original Harlem residents were priced out of Harlem when gentrification development came. And he was saying Jamaica is likely to be like that. Harlem don't get priced out of Jamaica. He said it. Billionaire said it.
Yeah, but Ryan, how do we know though? How do we get this message of preservation, the message of protecting our own interests to the common man, to the guy in the street, to the guy who decide that they're going to commit crime, to the guy who want to take up a gun? How do we get this to them that, look, brethren, when you don't create crime or you don't participate in murders and shootings and all that stuff, they're saying that affect them. How do we get that message down to them though?
Well, somewhere at the point where they're picking up a gun, chances are that person's a long way along the chain of falling away, so to speak. I think one of the things we have to do is get early childhood education, which has been progressing. We'll have to get more of our children educated and educated well, and we'll have some social work to do as well. I think because that's kind of like late stage. If someone at 15 is picking up gun and in gang or whatever,
not already.
You know what I'm saying? That's unfortunate, right? That's a violence producer. We have to get to the point where we are creating more model citizens and less violence producers. So that starts at the beginning. So that's where the good financial management or whatever will create. And we have grants from the NGOs and the whatever else, and the embassies, and the European Union has been very generous to Jamaica. But when you have that early childhood investment created through that through that financial wiggle room, then I think we'll start to see more fruit from that investment. So I'm pretty sure in the next 5 years, 10 years, we'll start to see some of the fruit of the early childhood investments that we would have seen before. We'd have seen previously, you had the commission attracting a lot more publicity, and with this new chair and even the chair before, they've done a lot of things to our public consciousness. So more of that now, I think, will produce fruit. But it's not a short game. In the meantime, we have to address the factors that are before us and the violence producers. I think whenever GP is moved, which I gather is not going to be a long time from now, and you have a facility where you cannot order hits from the jail, you are in a remote location, at the same time
rehabilitated.
Correct. And at the same time now you have GP being the final frontier of a global waterfront. So that land will be whatever it's supposed to be. I mean, there's some talk about what it's going to be. Then now you really start to see the needle move in a significant way, coupled with all the other social interventions and investments that have been pursued before. Yes. So, I mean, those things are going to be part of the way forward. And then the movement of the relocation of the police HQ is going to be massive as well.
Where's that going? Is you know where that old Jamintel building is? Is there any plans to utilize that building?
It's not going to be there, man. What they're going to be doing is a plot of land it's no man's land. So between Denham Town, Trench Town.
Okay, I know where that is. I know where it is.
Over there. So you need to go right there. You can imagine the impact that's going to have generally.
Oh yeah, geographically it's going to be right there. But that Jamintel building is a waste there, though, Ryan.
It's I don't know what's happening with it because they're building something right up the road, Duke Suites.
Something's being built there. I don't know what it is, but I saw something there being built. But that Jamintel building is quite a waste.
Somebody don't want to sell it or develop it, because if somebody's building up the road, that means they must have wanted that. So it's probably some mix up.
Why not give it to somebody, Virgin? Why not give these things to private sector and say, yo, we'll do something with it?
That hold up, no question, because there's no other reason. The man then probably just say, listen, let's have to go build somewhere else, because
the bureaucracy and all that.
Exactly. That's my guess.
And people are waiting now to invest. People are moving now because now is the time to move. Well, we're gonna have to have some conversation with you about some investment opportunities and options. And guys, I hope you guys can. Ryan does give not necessarily free advice, but he does give advice. And he wants to create wealth. He wants us to be wealthy. So hit him up on social media. Give out the social media handle, Ryan, so we can get some folks hitting up.
Facebook is Ryan Strong. It's right there. Twitter is 5 Solae SOLAE. Yeah, those are the main ones. I mean, G2K President, Twitter, Instagram. There's a Facebook page as well. And can link me up.
Don't be afraid, folks. Hit him up and pick his brain on the market, because it's the most viable options now. And like I've always encouraged you all to do is to join me. Come back a yard. Come build Jamaica. Ryan, enough respect as always. It's always good to have you on, my brethren. And big up the G2K family. Continue to do what you do. We appreciate you.
Big up. Respect and thanks, Chopper, every time. And to all the viewers, thank you. And link up soon. Take care, eh?
Yeah, man. All the best. Good. All right, folks. So there you have it. That was Ryan Strong, the G2K president. And that was a good wrap with it. We get a chance to talk some politics and to talk some finance. Val Rose, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Jade, Emerald, how you doing? Carlton Allen, good to see you as well. Taylor Brown, who else we got here? Carlton Ari, good to see you. Good to see everybody. Yes, so that was a good little chit chat there with the G2K president. We're talking some monies. I encourage you guys, man. Look, I'm not telling you to pack up where you at and come home. Don't be as crazy as I am. But don't bet against Jamaica. Invest in Jamaica. Invest in your own, you know. Invest in Jamaica. You can't go wrong. Jamaica to me is, you know, there was a big saying back in the 70s that every single speech that Michael Manley gave in Parliament, he would say how much Jamaica is poised for takeoff. Well, you know, I am pleased to report that Jamaica is no longer poised for takeoff. Jamaica has taken off. To my friends who have debated Jamaica's position in the Caribbean for quite a while, and when a lot of you compare other Caribbean countries, boy, this don't happen in Barbados, this don't happen. Yo, we don't need to do any research before you come back to me with that conversation. Do some research, because Jamaica, and I said this before and I say it again, Jamaica is the most developed country in the Caribbean. We are the superpower of the Caribbean. And like Ryan, Norman Brown, welcome to you, my brother. Good to see you, sir. If Jamaica, like Ryan just mentioned a while ago, if we manage to get crime down by 50%, a lot of people who want to buy a piece of land and to build a house in Jamaica will not be able to afford it. That's just the truth. Because with that sort of reduction, with that sort of positive growth in the economy, it comes with a cost. It is going to be expensive to live around here. So I am happy that I am carving out my little spot, that when it becomes expensive to live in Jamaica, I am here already. So I encourage you to start the process, you know, not saying you have to pack up tomorrow morning and just dump everything here, but at least start to transition. Do it like me. Put one foot in, one foot out, and take a little time. You know, don't be crazy about it, but do it in a timely fashion. Inform and educate yourself on the different markets and opportunities. And help us, help Jamaica to grow. If the people in the diaspora decide to contribute to Jamaica's development, Jamaica can become a first world country within the next 10 years. Undoubtedly. If the People's National Party would just sit out the next two elections, go and rebuild that beautiful movement, that's 70 how much years old? 75 years old movement. Go and rebuild, recruit, rebrand, rebuild, and allow the current administration to function without obstacles. Because sometimes, you know, sometimes the opposition oppose just for opposing sake. Just for opposing sake. They are more obstructionists sometimes than really functioning as a effective organization. So I'm hoping that good sense will prevail. I gather that there is more resignation to come in this week. I gather that there is going to be some serious movements come this week. It's not my business. You know, it's not, them say it's not Labour right business. So Labour right must keep out of it. But it's Jamaica's business. Opposition forms part of our constitutionally appointed structure of governance. And if it is under the Constitution, if it is a part of the framework or constitutional framework, then it is our business. We have all right to talk about it. We have all right to comment on it. It is not for us to bask or to rejoice. Because when men fall, you don't rejoice. You learn. You learn. It's just funny that the JLP fell back in the 1990s. And there has been no learning. by the People's National Party, and that is what is sad. I remember last week the comments by the former United States ambassador, Tapia, spoke extensively with regards to Darrell Vaz visa revocation. And by the way, I don't know if you guys would have tuned into Minister Vaz's interview with Cliff Hughes recently, where he basically spoke about all the issues that have affected him over the years. Now I listened to Philip Palwell recently. I know sometimes we're out in the political space and we comment and we make certain, allegations sometimes. And we have to be very careful. We have to be very, very careful. Because when you malign someone's character, it's not easy to rebuild, It's not easy. It's not easy. I listened to Philip Palwell recently in a live he had, I think it was yesterday or the day before. And he said something that was very, very profound. He said, persons from your own ilk, persons from within your own organization, because of political expediency, will do things to hurt you, including going to the United States Embassy to report on you, even whether it's true or lie. But the effect of it sometimes can be damning. And he's perfectly correct. Whether you want to like Philip Palwell or you don't want to like him, it is just the truth. What he said was spot on. And we shouldn't rejoice, because if we are to believe the former United States ambassador said in his interview with Cliff that a wrong was done where the revocation of Darrell Vaz's visa took place. They were wrong. They erred. They made a mistake. I think based on what Cliff said is that he believed that what the ambassador really, I don't know if he said it or what he believed, but is that the embassy would have recognized that they erred, they blundered. But we know how the United States operate. When the United States massed 158,000 troops on the border of Kuwait City to invade Iraq, back then when George W. Bush was president, claiming that they were weapons of mass destruction. And the poster child for that argument was one Colin Powell, a Jamaican, parading all over the United States with a remote vehicle showing that Iraq was moving weapon of mass destruction from city to city. And when they sent inspectors in, when Iraq allowed the inspectors to come in and inspect, the inspectors came out saying they found nothing. They found no concrete evidence on which to pronounce. But the United States still went ahead and invaded nonetheless. Even though they recognized that they perhaps would have blundered, they went ahead. Well, it's the same thing in the case of Darrell Vaz. And I'd probably go a step further and assume that it could very well be the same thing with Philip Palwell. It could very well be. Because now that all this is coming out, you see the pattern of mischief for political reasons. We have to be very careful. I think one of the things that Jamaicans and us as a country and a whole have done over the past few years is we have used the United States as a standard on which to judge people. So if a person's visa is revoked, automatically we now start to believe that that person is a criminal or has criminal background. So we use a visa revocation. And funny enough, make no mistake, that visa revocation is part of the United States foreign policy initiatives that is used as a political tool all over the world. So it is not something new to Jamaica. Revocation of visa is what the United States use on a regular basis, because that is used as a political tool to get a desired result. If it is that the US want to squeeze a government, to get a certain thing from them, whether by way of a vote, extradition, whatever it is, visa revocation is a policy of the United States international relations. That's how they do business. So sometimes when you start to judge your own people and start to throw them under the bus, thinking that just by virtue of them having their visa revoked, it means that they're automatically a criminal, we have to start rethink how we view that. Because it is obvious, and especially in the case of Darrell Vaz, and I am hastened to say in the case of Philip Paulwell, that is not the case. Because while the ambassador did not expand on Philip Paulwell's case, and we can understand the geopolitics there. The Republican Party is not aligned to Philip Paulwell. Philip Paulwell support an anti-imperialist government which casts countries like the United States and Israel under the same umbrella. Darrell Vaz would have supported the Jamaica Labour Party, which would have been more aligned to the Republican Party. Therefore, the interests of Tapia would be more swayed towards Darrell than it would be for Paulwell. So we understand the geographical, political connection there as well. But notwithstanding that, the policy of visa revocation is something that we as a society cannot use as a yardstick to determine whether or not somebody is fit and proper. Because they can make mistakes too. And admittedly so they did. Now, it would be curious to see how that is going to be resolved, whether or not those visas are going to be reinstated. And they're not obligated to reinstate anything. And that's the funny thing about the United States. They don't have to. If they don't want to give you a visa, they don't have to. It's their business and their right if they want to give you a visa. I don't think that policy should be used, though, as a political tool. Who am I, though? Just a little guy on social media. I don't have the authority to say whether or not. But that's voicing my opinion. And that's a good thing about the United States. The freedom to say what's on your mind without fear of contradiction. And that's one of the things why we have to admire the United States. You can say what's on your mind without feeling as though you will be chastised. So yeah. So that's one thing that came out last week, which I thought was very, very interesting. The other thing that came out is that all that information gathering with regards to the visa revocation would have started under the leadership of Peter Bunting, Murcott, at the time when that information was fed to the United States Embassy. Murcott, Peter Bunting, was the man in charge based on what we've heard. And, and it seemed to me like Philip Paulwell is up in arms where that is concerned. That's not for me. I don't care who up in arms to do. I'm just calling it like I see it. Yes, I'm just calling it like I see it. The the visa revocation of both men. I don't remember who else was, but we haven't heard anything about James. I think James' visa was revoked as well. You know, but these things happen. Wayne Chen, you know, businessman, had his visa revoked. I don't think these guys were involved in anything. But it happened at a particular time when you needed to squeeze the government to get an extradition of Douglas Coke at the time. So you do what you have to do. I'm trying to figure out when you revoked Darrell at the time, what was the issue? Well, I can tell you. there's no doubt. The issue at the time was the Jamaica Labour Party government connection with the Chinese. There was that connection with the Chinese administration and the Jamaican government, which we maintain a very strong relationship with China. And at the time, the Trump administration want to have nothing to do with that. So I'm assuming that revoking a couple of high-profile visas would perhaps, you know, shake the government. I think the Jamaican administration, which is so much different from what exists back in the 1970s, we maintain our position that we are friends of everybody. And we did not yield. Instead, as a matter of fact, it seemed to me that the Andrew Holness administration rewarded Darrell Vaz instead of yielding to the pressure of visa revocation. I admire that, and that's a good move, because that sets us apart. What took place in the 1970s was totally different. You know, the United States and the Allies were up against in a Cold War with Russia, and instead of erring on the side of caution, Michael Manley gave the middle finger to the United States, and Jamaica paid the consequence for that. So we have to be careful in how we do things and how we use the action and the actions of the United States Embassy as a yardstick to judge our people. A lot of people believe that once your visa get revoked, it is because you're a criminal and all that good stuff. So I'm hoping that we'll start, you know, take a second look at how we judge people based on those things. It's a pleasure, guys. It's been a very quiet evening for myself, but a very busy week in the political space. I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, we will wrap it up for you. So stick and stay. We'll be right back.
Hello? 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 Yeah, you. Hold on, and a pandemic winner. You're now wearing a mask, you're now washing your hand, and you now keep the required 6 feet distancing from other people. And what could I really cause you? You need to stop it. That no mask, no wash, and no distance something there, nah keep. You know what keep? COVID-19. Yeah, it not gone nowhere. COVID-19, they are same way. So here what you are going to do for all of we. Wear your mask, wash or sanitize your hands pan a regular, and yeah, keep your distance, please. And thanks.
Hi, my name is Sonoya Boros, and together with my husband, Brenton, we started an online children's store called Shop 876 Kids. We pride ourselves in carrying the widest variety of children's items, including room decor, baby supplies, educational supplies, clothing, and every child's dream, the hottest and latest toys. Our ultimate dream for this business is to become the #1 resource for children items in Jamaica, and dare I say the Caribbean. But you know, they say if your dream doesn't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. Through my research, I found out about Sadicor Bank Payment Gateway Solutions, and I used it for my business because they had the best rates, excellent customer service, and they are a safe and reliable platform for my customers to use. COVID-19 has certainly changed our lives, but out of adversity comes opportunity. Look at me, pharmacist turned web developer turned website owner. Look for that need and supply that service or product.
My name is Noel Chang. I'm a constable attached to the Mobile Reserve Division at the JCF SWAT team. I've been a member of this team for 2 fulfilling years. The training, of course, would have helped me to grow as well. I find it to be very fulfilling playing an active role in the crime fight and in developing my nation. Join the JCF and start a career.
All right, so welcome back, everybody. I get a very strange message just now, but welcome back. So last week, another bit of news came out of Central Westmoreland. A matter of fact, let's touch on a little bit of Central St. James too, because there's some activities there where the new police station in Mount Salem was opened by the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister, along with Member of Parliament MP Hira Clark. So that's a state-of-the-art place, man. I mean, when you look at what existed there before, and you know, put it up against what was built, you can now recognize why it is that the possibility of us having significant reduction in murders is quite achievable, night and day. And you know, Central St. James is so blessed because they have so much activities going on. The new fire station, folks, is going to be coming on stream very soon, and that's another big mega project. Montego Bay and St. James on a whole have seen some significant influx of capital, whether through government or local, and for that we have to give thanks. So a lot of stuff happening in Central. In the Bartown area, I think there was also another opening there. It's so much stuff happening, man. I think I'm gonna have to next week is to go down the list of stuff that has been done within the constituencies. I gather that there's also another police station to be done somewhere up in South St. James. That is Homer Davis's constituency, former mayor. The Westmoreland Parish Council had a bit of drama a week ago, where, you know, it's so funny that the house that was being built by the opposition leader, great initiative, because you have to support your people, you have to provide, and then where there's a need for assistance for party workers, you know, it's admirable when the leadership of the party can jump in and give some support. But in giving that support, you have to ensure that proper procedure is followed, especially when you have the leader of the political party involved in that project. So somebody dropped the ball, and it does speak to the disunity and the unorganized way in which they approach what they do. Because there's no way you could have Andrew Holness coming through to break ground or to assist in a project that is not above board. In other words, the requisite permissions and permits were not submitted. And I gather that one of the councillors for the Cornwall Mountain Division, I think Donnet Foster, had asked the question, was there a permit for the structure? And just by asking that question, it all hell broke loose. They went ahead and stopped the project, rightfully so, because if the ducks are not in a row, then the right thing to do is to stop the project. But that's an embarrassment on the leader of the opposition, because that should never be the case. You should have, the due diligence should have been done, and the requisite permits sought and approved, because we want people to have house. We don't want to sit down in an environment where people are criticized based on the size of their houses, when instead what we should be doing is to offer people solutions and housing solutions. So by virtue of she asking that question, the project was stopped. But they didn't stop there, because I heard that a member now of the of the Westmoreland Parish Council went a step further now to threaten the female councillor. And I gather that there were some serious, almost physical interaction there. But we're happy it has been resolved. I think the requisite permits and waivers, if any, has been sought, and I'm assuming they will be granted so that the lady can get her house. Because I don't think it is in anybody's best interest, whether JLP, PNP, or no P, for anybody to live in squalor. I admire the fact that the Prime Minister took on this whole builder persona and has been demonstrating to people that his interest is in getting people proper housing. I happened to visit a particular site recently up in St. Anne, where not one but 2 houses are being built under the whole program. You don't see 1-bedrooms anymore. The little 1-bedroom, you don't see that anymore. What people are getting now is 2-bedroom, 2-bath, a decent dwelling. And I'm happy that that is where we are. So we won't have another situation again where we spend a lot of time in criticizing the leader of the opposition house or the Prime Minister's house. Instead, we're providing homes, proper homes for citizens. Ryan mentioned something while he was on earlier, that if you don't get a piece of this rock now while you can, when this crime situation is dealt with, a whole heap of people won't be able to afford a piece of the rock, So I encourage my diaspora people, I encourage my blockers, that you should all try to get yourself on a piece of this rock, because when you check it out, it won't be affordable. It won't be affordable anymore. I gather that our good friend Apka Fitzhenley would have lost his dad. I say condolences to you, my friend. Keep strong, and may his soul rest in peace, and you will focus and stay strong for the rest of your family. All the best. Also, big up to Sharon Hay Webster. Big up to Sharon Hay Webster. She was here with us a few weeks ago. Very interesting conversation with herself, and we still have not had a chance to get Carrie Douglas on, but we are going to. We're going to work on it. Big up to Patroy. Big up to Keisha Mack. I see Keisha Mack. Keisha Mack is in the building. Big up yourself. Paula Fuller, big up to you as well. Christopher One, big up. Good to see you. And Robert Lawrence, big up as well. Chris Dixon, all the best to you. And everybody who tuned in this evening. Very good discussion. Val Rose, good to see you as well. We're going to stay out of PNP business for now and let them handle their show. I think they'll come back. Don't count them out. I think they will get their ducks in a row. They will go back and recognize that that a divisive environment is not conducive for effective politicking. So they'll get themselves together. I see my good friend Prosperity King, Kirk Rodney. I see you're on. Big up yourself. Mr. Peng, man, I have not seen you in a long while. Good to see you. Maurice Campbell, good to see you as well. Lots of love and lots of respect to everybody who tuned in this evening for another episode of the Shopping Block. And when you hear that song, you know what time it is. It's time for us to hit the road, Jack. Peace be on you. And hopefully next week we will see you same time, same place, when we will engage in another topical discussion on political and other issues. All the best to you. Thank you so much. Peace. We are out. Blessings.